y'all, I'm April.
And I'm Caroline.
And this
is your Bloody Happy Hour.
Caroline, are you ready for this?
This is your newest guilty pleasure.
It's the bloodiest part of your week.
Did we say something about it also being happy hour?
Show did.
Because we're about to be sipping on some murder. Bloody Happy Hour.
Hey y'all, this is April. It's Thirsty Thursday.
And this is Caroline. WAP. That means we are professionals.
You take the worst acronyms and then try to make them better. And then we get called dirt legs.
Dirt legs? What's a dirt leg?
Obviously us.
Well, you know what? I've always wanted to be a dirt leg, so thanks for the compliment, bitch. Welcome to the show, everybody. We're bringing the energy, we're bringing the fun, we're bringing the spark.
Yes. So can I tell you about
I hope
my
you
book club?
do tell me, and all about the traffickers.
Yes. I just had True Crime Book Club, and we had a special guest. What's his name?
Joseph
Scaramucci, who is the detective of human and sex trafficking, but like all over. He goes all over the U.S. He goes to other countries.
Sounds like a member of the mob.
His name does kind of sound a little.
Yeah.
But you know what? He wants to come on our True Crime on our podcast.
Well,
to
good.
Learn us all about it, because he learned us some stuff.
He learned us
like I was learning.
He done learned us. He done learned us some stuff.
He did debunk some TikTok things that
zip tie.
We reported fake news, Caroline.
I had spread misinformation. I apologize. Corrections corner, Fixident Friday. I don't know.
So the zip tie, somebody asked him. I didn't even ask him.
Probably because they saw it because I posted it on the story and because I talked about it on the podcast.
And it's just all over TikTok.
Yeah, it is.
He said that is BS.
I'm trying to give
that
myself
a zip
credit.
tie on your car is not a way human traffickers are tracking you. There's also another rumor that people were putting peanut butter on your windshields so that you can get out and wipe it off, and then that's when they kidnap you. And the truth is, they don't have to kidnap anybody because victims are walking straight to them, walking straight in their arms, because they're talking to them and grooming them on social media. They're arranging dates, and so the victims are coming to them.
Wait, so
voluntarily.
What do you mean? Voluntarily walking to them?
So,
like, they're like, hey, let's meet up. And the kids are like, okay, let's meet up.
Yeah, because they're catfishing them on Instagram or on adults.
They're not voluntarily saying, oh, I want to be trafficked.
No, but they're voluntarily meeting a stranger
who they think is somebody else.
Right.
Yeah.
So what he was saying is, like, there was a post on Facebook here in Waco, or it was all over Facebook, but it was about our local Target, and some woman was there with her kid,
Karen,
and she saw one guy 3 times, and obviously he was trying to kidnap her and her kid.
Clearly.
And she even talked to a worker at Target, and this Target co-signed on it and was like, yeah, I saw him 4 times. And she was walked out to her car.
She's staying aware, April.
And he obviously walked out to his car too. So then he was following her. So anyways, that went viral. Scaramucci was like, it's bogus. It's the biggest BS. Like, a mom having their kid, it's the least time that they're going to get kidnapped, And just like he said that they don't have to do stuff like that anymore, like maybe back in the day, because all they need is social media.
Oh.
So go to Target, go to Walmart, go to H-E-B, stay aware, stay alive. But really, folks don't really want us. She just had a baby.
I did hear that the number one place for people to get trafficked is at the Super Bowl.
He talked about the Dallas, the game, the basketball game one.
Yeah.
Okay. And the girl's story was she got a drink and then she woke up in Oklahoma City. Turns out she was Instagramming somebody who she had already knew she was meeting at the game and left with that person. And she did wake up in Oklahoma City and she did not plan that part. So it's not victim blaming. It is that if you dig deep, like the girls in McGregor that went missing for a couple days, that they just walked right out the door to the person that they thought that they were going to meet, that they were trusting. Turned out, can't trust them.
So did she see the person and still went with them, even though they weren't some young kid? Or maybe it was the young kid was part of capturing them.
Well, a lot of times these are older men targeting younger girls.
Right. So whenever she goes and meets up with this guy.
But she knew it was an older man.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't understand.
He had two phones.
More explanation.
One phone was people actively trying to purchase child porn.
The officer.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then the other one was people actively trying to pay for sex from an underage girl. So it's like he creates these fake situations, fake posts, fake profiles to get these people to meet him. And then that's when they show up and they knock on the hotel room door or in the parking lot to come join him in the car, because he's posing as a 15-year-old girl, then they get arrested. So when we see these sextings like that, it's like him because he's catfished a lot of people. It's pretty legit. Yeah.
I need to talk to him.
So, yeah, we're going to bring him on the podcast. So there's a quick little human trafficking lesson.
Defendant's commission of these 4 murders over a 10-day period is one of the worst killing sprees in the history of this state. Each one of these murders was a deliberate and planned act. The victims were pre-selected and the murders were purposeful. Therefore, this panel finds that the death penalty is appropriate, should be, and is hereby given for each of the 4 murders by the defendant.
Have you ever heard of Nikko Jenkins?
I've seen a picture of him.
Well, he has a lot of decorations on his face.
He does. He's scary.
So Nikko Jenkins was born on September 16th, 1986. So he's basically my age. Omaha, Nebraska is where he grew up. He was born in Colorado. David McGee was his dad. Lori Jenkins is his mom. He has 4 siblings. He has 4 sisters. His father wasn't around much, and his mom raised him mostly by herself. He had a very troubled upbringing. This little Nikko. He was physically abused. He witnessed a lot of violence and abuse between his parents and literally all of his family. I'll tell you more about that in a second.
Wait, violent abuse of all of his family?
He witnessed abuse within his whole family.
Okay.
Cousins, brothers or sisters, parents, everybody. They're just
real dysfunctional.
Very, very. So it's very normal for violence and abuse.
Okay.
That's all he knew growing up in his childhood. So there was an incident between his parents where he had to break them up. And there was blood and he had to clean up the blood off the floor. He's 4 years old.
Oh.
I mean, yeah. So this, his family also has this extensive background of violence. His great grandfather was named Levi Levering, and there's this family tree that I'll post on the post. He was a tribal leader in Omaha, and 38 of the descendants are convicted criminals. Damn. So collectively they have 38, and they have committed 633 crimes since 1979.
Somebody did some research getting those numbers.
Well, it's this huge family tree, and it's the grandpa, and then it's who they married to, this, all the kids, and it's just convicted, in jail, murders, robbery, like everything. So yeah, pretty much he was exposed to everything as a kid. When he was 7 years old, he brought a loaded handgun to school. Okay. No one was harmed, but this caused him to go straight into foster care because
he got taken away.
Yes. So this was the first like instance of him coming across like, I guess, the police's radar. His family was obviously well known around the area because of all the crime. So when he's in foster care, he speaks to a therapist for the first time, and he talks about wanting to hurt himself. I mean, imagine a 7-year-old talking about this. And he's talking about wanting to hurt others, and he says that he's hearing voices in his head, and that the voices are telling him to hurt other people, and he actually wanted to harm his classmates when he brought that gun to school, but he didn't shoot them. He wanted to, but he didn't. And like I said, this is real bad. You're just so young, and that's just awful. It's awful. So he was also excessively wetting the bed. Ooh. Never a good sign. But the therapist said that was due to his anxiety and his stress, which I get. That sounds right. All the stress from his home life. So he was then diagnosed with bipolar disorder, which is like, okay, are you even fully developed to already have that? I don't know.
I'm sure you can have characteristics.
When I was researching this case, I was like, this would have probably been the best one for Casey to be on. Just because there's so much of mental health that comes into play in this, and he then tries to use it like to his advantage. So nothing was done. They just diagnosed him with this, and then he bounced from foster care to foster care throughout his childhood. He eventually went back to his like mom's house, and then he just kept getting into trouble. So at 11 years old, he joined his first gang. Was he
the oldest, middle, youngest?
I think he was the youngest. Okay. I think he was the youngest. So he joins his first gang at 11. He starts carrying a weapon at all times. And throughout his teenage years, he's convicted of arson, weapons charges, robbery. And because of all this, he was in and out of juvie, like throughout this whole period of his life. So in 2003, he's 17. He commits 2 armed carjackings, and this results in him being sentenced 14 to 15 years in prison. So he's first sent to a youth facility where it's because he's still a minor, but then as soon as he turns 19, is that the age that it happens?
I think it differs. It's 17 here.
Okay, so, I guess it's different in Omaha. He goes to the adult prison once he's able to go to the adult prison. And his prison behavior was not very good.
He didn't have a change of heart when he got to prison?
No, he didn't. It was very eventful. He was charged twice. Once for assaulting. He got furloughed to go to his grandma's funeral. So he got to be released with supervision to go to the funeral. Well, then, he assaulted the guard. So he got in trouble for that, like beating up the guard. And he would take part in prison riots. And so he got in trouble for that. So he's disciplined for that. He's doing tattoo activities. I guess he's just carving tattoos on himself. He's attacking other inmates. He's getting into gang stuff. He's creating or carving shivs out of toilet brushes, plastic toilet brushes to use it as weapons. I mean, the things that they do in there.
I've seen toothbrushes. A toilet brush? I'm surprised they even let them have those.
I know. So because of this behavior, he now goes to solitary confinement.
That's going to help his mental state.
So
what do you do?
Huh?
I said, but what do you do?
I know.
It doesn't help the situation, but hell, you got to contain his ass.
I don't know. So over the years, he develops this following of female admirers.
Oh, because he's He would have been good looking,
yeah,
right?
He's cute.
Eyes.
He's pretty short, but he's like, I guess he works out in like he's
Buffed.
he's buff,
Lighter skin, lighter eyes.
He is good looking. If you take off all those tattoos and you can see his face, he's a cute guy.
What a waste.
I know, it's so bad. So he's in solitary confinement. He develops his following, and the officers refer to this following as the cult of Nikko. So all of these incidents, like his prison troubles and everything, they cause him to get 5 more years to his sentence. So now his sentence is 20 years, but this is weird. He only serves 10 of the 20 years. And out of the 10-year sentence, he spent 60% of the time in solitary confinement, including 2 solid years. Consistent solitary confinement. And it gets so bad. Because this is also the justice system, an issue with the system.
Yeah. Before
he was able to get released, so he has his 20-year sentence, he's only served 10 years. And the final 2 years he's been in solitary. So before he gets released, he has to do a psych eval. Well, because obviously he struggled with mental health. He has anger issues, and he's been self-harming. He's carving tattoos in his face, okay? So he was on like 15-minute suicide watch because he was repeatedly mutilating his face.
So every 15 minutes, somebody had to come check up on him?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. He even... Hang on.
His face is scarred up. Like, it's more than tattoos. It's like deep scars like he had.
Oh, yeah. Just wait till I tell you what he carves in his face.
Oh, okay.
He even told the staff that he wanted to eat the heart of women, men, and children. I mean, he could have just been saying that, but he could have wanted to do it. I don't know. I'm not Nikko.
Now, a word from our sponsors.
Welcome to One Star Rewind, a new podcast about those dreaded one-star reviews that every business owner hates to receive, but yet every customer loves to read. During this podcast, we will peel back that one-star review to better understand how it happened, when it happened, and what the business owner is doing after receiving that one-star review. This podcast will be about love, hate, and laughter. On One Star Rewind, we will meet with real business owners who will tell their stories and how they do rely on reviews for their business. Follow us on Facebook, Instagram, or download us at roguemedianetwork.com. Please subscribe, but only rate and review for not a one-star review. Join us each time for a new review and a new story.
What's your emergency?
Do you hear that? It's coming from the house.
It's coming from inside the house? Do you mean? Could it be?
The Poltergeist. New from Rogue Media. 2 haunted hotties talking about haunted places. Every episode we dive deep into the darkest places and give you a bit of history.
We're getting spooky in all the right places.
You've gobbled your last ghoul.
Follow along for the craziest and spookiest stories with Debbie's Dark Tourism. The Stanley Hotel,
Winchester House,
The Alamo,
Hotel Monte Vista,
and more spooky places. Find us at _Poltergals. POLTERGALS.
Look over your shoulder. It's us,
the Poltergals. Wherever you consume the podcast, you can find us there.
He was also known to, I just want to tell y'all, it's a lot. It's a lot. It's about to be a lot. I never heard about this. He wanted to drink his own urine. He also wanted to drink and snort his own semen.
Oh.
That's a new one.
He's going crazy in there.
That's a new one. Apparently, according to Nikko,
what'll happen?
April, this is nutritional supplementation. Because when you're snorting and drinking your own semen, it increases your serotonin levels. And it helps you manage stress.
Huh.
Did you know that?
No. Is there a study done?
Sure, Jan. Sure. Sure, Jan. So Nikko has he's snorting his semen. He's drinking his pee. He's living his best life. Okay?
Yeah.
So he has racing, obsessive thoughts. He's still hearing voices. He's now having hallucinations, probably because he's drinking all this pee. And then he starts saying that he's getting instructions from this Egyptian god.
He probably is. You've been in a 2x2 room for 2 years.
The Egyptian god is Apophis or Apophis. I call him Apophis. Okay. Now this god would instruct Nikko to harm others. Now, this god was some scary ass looking devil snake god. It looks like a python, or I don't know what's a python, but I'm just going to refer to it as the devil snake because it's real scary.
Yeah.
And it had the form of, the god had the form of a serpent.
Okay. Which is what the devil's supposed to be.
Yeah. And it was known as the demon of chaos and the evil of darkness. Ooh. So I'm about to get my holy water out and sprinkle it on us because I had to talk. When I was typing it, I was getting freaked out. When I'm talking about it, I'm like,
did you do some Hail Marys?
Hail Mary, full of grace, the Lord is with thee. Blessed art thou among women. Blessed is for thy womb, Jesus. Holy Mary, Mother of God, pray for sinners now at the hour of death. Amen.
You're about to get excommunicated.
She Catholic.
That sounds about like my song, my books of the New Testament song.
That I literally just said, no, I just said the whole prayer accurately and correctly. Go ahead, listen to it again. Thanks, or don't. So, knowing all of this, the authorities decide that Nikko is obviously ready. He's obviously ready to rejoin society.
I mean,
just because
all the signs point to yes.
Yeah, just because he's drinking his pee and his semen, and
this is right.
The devil snake god and he's hearing voices and hallucinating. Let's release him.
Let's do it.
I think that's a great idea. So he's released July 2013, straight from solitary confinement. Okay, so not only he's too dangerous to be in general population of the prison, but he's not too dangerous to be released into society.
Who is this? Who makes this decision?
I don't know why they wanted to I don't know why. I don't.
It's like the same people that let Kenneth McDuff out.
Make it make sense, April.
Can't.
Make it. Okay, but you know what? You wouldn't think, but yeah, obviously it has to get worse because we are talking about murder here. So it gets worse. He's released, without any parole.
That was an accident. That
any
had
supervision.
To have been an accident.
No parole, no supervision. Okay, I'm trying to understand this. Doesn't make sense. So he had asked to not be released, and he had asked for help over and over and over, but never got it. And he even said, if you let me out, I'm going to kill someone.
Wow.
And I would assume that if you are that you wouldn't be allowed to purchase a weapon or to be in possession of a weapon if you are on parole
or a felon. Felons can't.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
But he was allowed.
July 30th, which is just we're in July. July 30th, Nikko is released and his family's throwing him a release party. Release party. Well, you know what? What do you think his family gives him as a gift?
Drugs, guns, and women.
B, a shotgun.
Oh, a shotgun.
A shotgun. They give him a gift. He's given a shotgun from his uncle Warren Levering. This guy comes back up later. So like I said earlier, I don't know how parole works, but I would assume that, especially if you have had armed robbery, if that's why you're in jail, you shouldn't be able to have a gun, but now he has a gun. So he gets into some trouble at this party because he has a girlfriend. Well, his girlfriend is there, and then guess who else shows up? The cult of Nikko done showed up at the party.
They've been looking for
So
him.
girlfriend is not happy. She real mad. So he's being inappropriate with his cult, and she's getting pissed because she wants all this attention. Boy, you just got out. Like,
So was she a cult of Nikko first?
I don't think so. I think she just, I don't know. I don't have that information.
Okay.
But she's not happy, and they start arguing, and then he starts threatening her, and he's like, I'm going to kill you. I'm going to kill your mom. And this part comes up later. Okay. So also at the party, Nikko says that he wants to move to Florida, and he wants to commit some he's all about committing robberies. Like, he's number one, he just wants to rob people. But he wants to go to Florida, commit these robberies, get enough money so he could move to Cuba and fight the U.S. Because he hates the U.S. because he thinks he was screwed over.
And he was.
Yes.
The system, all the systems
because
failed
he
him.
has a grudge against the system.
Is he going to be on Kim's podcast? The system?
You heard it here first, people. You heard it here first.
Wow.
So now that was July 30th. He was just released. We're at August 10th now. Okay. Nikko wants to commit these robberies in his hometown. His sister, Nikko Jenkins, and his cousin, Christine Bordeaux, want to join him. So, this is the crime family. So they all want to do this. They're like, hey, let's do it. So Nikko makes a plan, and he wants Erica and Christine to go to a bar. He wants them to lure two men from the bar, pretend like they're prostitutes, and that they're going to have sex with them. So then Nikko can jump out and rob them.
Okay.
So it all works. They go to this bar. They pick up Jorge Ruiz and Juan Pena. Okay. Jorge and Juan. So they go with the girls to this private location. They're like, yeah, we're going to have sex. Oh, yeah. Erica and Christine are just like, whatever. But then all of a sudden they get to this location, and they realize that Juan and Jorge realize that they've been tricked because they see Nikko come out of nowhere with this big ass shotgun. And he holds them at gunpoint. He aims the gun at Juan's head, and before Juan could say anything, Nikko pulls the trigger.
No.
Blood, brains, and skull fragments flew all over the car, and the deer slug.
No, it was a deer rifle.
Yes. Drilled a massive hole straight through his head. Wow. Erica and Christine, so they're in the car. Nikko runs up on him. Erica and Christine, they start screaming because they didn't know he was going to start shooting them. They just thought we were robbing them. So they start screaming, and then Juan's body slumps forward, and Nikko turns the gun on Jorge. And just before Nikko pulls the trigger, Jorge puts his hands in front of his face, blocking it.
Yeah.
And the gun goes off. The deer slug goes straight through his hands, straight through his head, out of the back of his skull.
No.
Dead.
Instant.
Nikko then turns out their pockets to empty them, takes all the money he can find, and when he gets home, he tells his mom about the murders, and his mom is like, well, did you get any money out of it?
Oh, God. This whole family's the devil.
Literally.
They're the devil.
Literally. I'm going to say it 15 times.
Yeah.
Well, that was a whole August 10th. Let's move on to August 11th.
Oh, the next day.
Okay. Yep. 2 down. Here we go. August 11th. 5 a.m. Officers find the bodies in the car. Blood-coated interior soaked into the seats. Their heads were scattered throughout the vehicle. I'm just trying to paint the picture for you here. Yeah. So Nikko is not on the radar of the officers because he has no connection to these people because they just, the cousin and the sister randomly picked him up at the bar. No connection, whatever. Nikko is living his best life. 8 days later, after the murders of Juan and Jorge, Nikko goes to another party and he runs into Curtis Bradford. Well, Curtis Bradford is one of his buddies from prison.
Oh.
So
Curtis done got out accidentally too.
Curtis done got out, and Curtis's family was like, don't you be hanging around Nikko.
Okay.
He's bad news. Don't you be hanging around Nikko.
Don't be playing with them Jenkins boys.
Yeah, don't be playing with them Jenkins. Nikko is like, I ain't listening. Because, Nikko is going over to Curtis, and he says, Curtis, bro, you want to do some robberies? And Curtis is like, bet. He is not listening.
Come on, Curtis.
Not listening to his family.
Out.
So, Nikko's just going around recruiting people for robberies, obviously. So, Nikko and his sister Erica show up to go pick up Curtis. Well, Erica is convinced. Are we good?
No, yeah.
Erica is convinced that Curtis is who shot up her house recently, a few weeks back. So she doesn't like Curtis.
Okay.
Because she's like, I don't like Curtis. But she didn't tell Nikko this.
Oh, so Erica and they're still friends with Nikko, even though he blew the brains out.
Because they're a crime family. They don't give a shit about anything. Even though they probably were like, man, you got blood on me. You know?
Next time, wait till I move out the way.
Exactly.
Wow.
Erica is real mad because she's like, Curtis done shot up my house a couple weeks ago and I'm mad. I want to get revenge. Well, she has Nikko's shotgun. She's holding the shotgun. And with no hesitation, she aims the shotgun at Curtis and shoots him. He falls to the ground and Nikko grabs the shotgun from her. He's pissed because Erica did not do it right. He walks over to Curtis's body and shoots him again, execution style. He already did. You're going to shoot him again. Once again, police don't suspect a thing. Curtis just laying there, I guess, on the ground, and they just let him,
Wow.
So here they go. 2 days later, after the murder of Curtis, Lil Wayne comes to town.
Lil Wayne?
You didn't know there was going to be a Lil Wayne in the story, did you?
No.
We got a story now. Lil Wayne comes to town. Nikko is out with his sister Erica. He's out with the cousin Christine. So we got the same players.
They're loving it.
And guess who's going to join them? Uncle Warren, the guy who gave Nikko the shotgun at the release party.
Okay.
So they are out looking to steal a SUV so they can all four go around and rob people so they can get tickets to Lil Wayne concert.
Oh, Lordy, Lil Wayne. Why you gonna be that good?
Listen, he just ruined the whole story. So this is where it gets, this is the worst part and never mind. They spot an SUV that they like, and this SUV belongs to Andrea Kruger.
Okay.
Mother of 3.
Daddy's name Freddie?
I think.
Okay.
She's on her way home from work. She work at a bar. She's coming home late night. Kid's sick or something. She pulls up to a stop sign, and Nikko and Uncle Warren are in a car, and they pull up in front of the car, in front of her car, block her in because she's at the stop sign. They block her in. They get out. Nikko jumps out of the car, got the shotgun in his hand, rips open the door, throws her to the ground, aims the shotgun at her, and she struggles, and no hesitation, shoots her 4 times.
Hey, he warned people. He warned them, if you let me out, this is what I'm going to do.
Yep. Shoots her 4 times. She's on the ground screaming. Shoots her in the neck, the back, the head. She's unrecognizable. Awful. Awful. They then hop into the SUV because that's the whole point.
Yeah.
Man, can you not just get her out and take it? No.
Oh, she's still in there.
No, she was they pull her out.
Okay.
Throw her to the ground, shoot her. She's laying on the ground. They jump in and take off. But I just was like, could you not just take her out and take the car? But you had to kill her.
Yeah.
But that's not how that's not what the Apophis told him to do. Hypothesis. So They drive around for 2.5 hours before anything happens. And then they eventually abandon the car.
So they did all that for a 2-hour joyride.
Yeah. I don't even think they went to the concert.
She's a single mom. She probably didn't have the cash.
They were getting the SUV so they could go around and rob people to get money for the concert.
They didn't even do it. Okay.
They didn't even do it. So now we have 4 senseless murders. 4. Okay. Jorge, Juan, Curtis, Andrea. And police realize we got a spree killer on the loose. And let me tell you, I'm sure you know. Do you want me to tell you? I was going to tell them the difference between a spree killer and a serial killer.
Do it, but I had to look it up today, but do it.
So a spree killer is a killer that does not stop between murders.
Yeah.
And they move quickly one to the next one without even thinking about it.
Random.
And
they happen in different places.
Yeah. The victims of a spree killer are random. They're spread out, and they can cross racial lines, gender lines, city lines. It's just rare. Serial killer is kind of over a long period of time.
Series. They usually go like dormant.
Yeah, study your people. You have a certain type and all this stuff. So, yeah. So 10 days go by. No one's been arrested. And they're just going about their lives. Finally, on August 30th, Nikko's arrested. But not in connection with the murders.
Oh, what'd he do?
Remember earlier in the story where I say he got a fight with his girlfriend?
Yes.
Because of the cult of Nikko? Because he was threatening his girlfriend because these thirsty ass hoes were coming around to the release party. And so Nikko had been continuing to threaten the girlfriend and saying that he was going to kill her and kill her mom and send demonic forces to the mama house.
Oh my God.
The devil snake. He was going to send Apophis over there. Well, she's terrified. So then she calls the police and is like, my life is being threatened. He's trying to say he's going to bring this Apophis devil snake over here to me and please take him away. So then they come and arrest him.
Oh, okay.
I think they were like, we kind of know his history. So let's just take him. So when he's in jail, police start to realize maybe Nikko is the one committing all these murders. Maybe. They eventually find some CCTV camera footage of someone buying the exact same deer slug ammunition that was used in all 4 of the killings.
And was it him?
Guess who it was. Take a guess who was buying the ammunition.
Erica. Christine.
Who was always protecting a boy.
Warren.
Their little boy.
The mama. No.
Nikko mama, Lori Jenkins. She is up in the store buying the ammunition for Jenkins. Him. Police are like, well, we know her. We know her son. And we know the whole family. So.
Listen, I do think that they had the hypothesis snake, whatever, in their family. I believe in demons.
Yes.
They are demons.
Oh.
And it started with Uncle Levi.
And now a word from our sponsors.
Frozen heroes. Gonna tell you about frozen heroes. Gonna tell you about.
Hey, I'm Zach.
And I'm Mike.
And we have a fantastic new podcast to tell you about. Bros, Foes, and Heroes. It's the 2 of us looking into the world of comics, breaking down some characters that you may have never heard of, and some that are just absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah, so Zach comes up with a character each time, and I go into it just completely blind. I don't know who this person is or what their abilities are or anything, and basically I guess we kind of go over their origin story and just some of the ridiculous stuff that maybe, especially Golden Age stuff.
Oh, Golden Age stuff is always the best, and we will make sure to highlight all of the shenanigans and just absolute weirdness of everything.
Yeah, that's right. So subscribe today and follow us on Instagram at Bros Foes Heroes.
And if you don't, I know where you live. Not really, but please subscribe.
Bros and foes and heroes. Gonna tell you about bros and foes and heroes. Gonna tell you about.
What are we doing here, Rusty? What are we going to do?
Yep, we're doing the King of the Hill Rewatch Podcast.
King of the Hill Rewatch Podcast. Yeah, so we're going to go through one episode at a time. Come along for the ride with us.
Come check it out.
And give me a good like Dale Gribble quote to go out on. Wingo.
Yeah, Wingo.
Wingo. All right. Well, join us for the King of the Hill Rewatch Podcast.
Deep in the heart of Texas, that drinks his brew and he spits his chew. Deep in the heart of Texas, the TV blares but no one cares. Deep in the heart of Texas, here we go.
Back to the show. So, since Nikko is already in custody, it's super easy for the officers to question him clearly. So, on September 3rd, they spend 8 hours questioning him.
Okay.
8 hours about these 4 murders. So, listen to what he does. He first denies knowing anything about the murders. That's what you do. Or having any involvement. Then he goes and he blames Erica and Christine and says that he was somewhat involved and he was basically just providing...
The supervisor.
Yeah, he was providing intelligence.
Oh.
Yeah, he was just providing intelligence.
He was narrating it?
Yeah, and he, you know what? You know what was really nice of him? I'll tell you. He offered to wear a wire and to go back into the neighborhood and collect evidence.
Oh.
I mean, how nice is that?
Was he DTF?
He was clearly DTF. Sure, Jan. Sure. So then he changes the story again and he starts speaking in tongues. Hail Mary, full of God, the Lord is with you. Me, blessed art thou among women, and blessed art your holy name was found from Chiblet. That's about what he said. That's about what he said. His hypothesis was not good. So the devil snake, he said that the devil snake was telling him to commit all these murders. He said he would never hurt a woman unless he was directed to.
Okay. Oh.
By the serpent god.
By anthropology. What's his name?
Apophis.
Apophis.
And then he finally admits to committing the murders, probably because it's been so long.
8 hours.
8 hours. And he says that he did it in order to get revenge on the correctional system because he believed that he should have never been let out, and which I agree with, and that he told the police, like, I told you so, I warned you, like, you should have never let me out, I told you I was going to kill somebody, and he was all over the place, but by the end of the questioning, he confessed to the crimes, and so they arrest him for all 4 of the murders, even though he's already in jail.
And I'm pretty, like, he said robbery, but he was more pissed at the system. But I just hate that all these people had to die for no reason that had nothing to do with.
He should have never, I mean, you know what makes me so mad? And this is like,
if he was a serial killer, he could have targeted the people that let him out. Like, that would have been more, wouldn't have been better, but it would have just made more sense.
You know, why do people have children if they're so terrible?
If the people are terrible?
Like, why are you having kids if you are drug addicted, murdering people? You don't do it on purpose?
I'm pretty sure it's not on purpose, or it is because you
But,
get
like,
more money
how-
out the system. And
Wait, what?
yes, welfare money. More kids you have, it's money. Kids are money.
But you
When
gotta
you
pay.
don't work.
Kids are expensive.
Not when you can live off this. I'm assuming that they are, but kids are expensive.
I
It
mean,
didn't make sense, but there's a lot of people that just think
I just
that.
it's so sad that you are like you're 4 years old and you're already like you have no life.
Yeah.
Because this is what you had to grow up around. You have
And
no
he
chance.
was so cute. Why didn't nobody want him at 4?
He was at
He
the
could have
foster
been
homes.
saved. Yeah.
He was so violent to the other kids. Like he
Yeah.
was like that's why he kept going from home to home to home.
So 4 years old was already too late.
And then 7 he brought the gun. I mean, it's just like
The family's
that
cursed.
is your whole like you have no chance even to live. I don't know.
I
Maybe
think the most-
people do. I don't know.
Just don't date a Jenkins. Don't have a kid by a Jenkins.
Listen, Nikko then is finally awaiting trial. Now this kind of drags on a little bit because he decides that he's going to file a lawsuit against the state of Nebraska. $24.5 million.
Oh. He's really reaching.
So he's going to file this lawsuit saying they should have never let him out, that this could have been prevented, and that he should not be blamed for the killings. He then writes a 6-page letter saying that he is not fit to stand trial due
He does.
to his mental illness and mental health issues.
Is it a notebook paper?
Probably.
Did he have a spiral?
It's college ruled, not wide ruled. So he gets more words in.
The person usually doesn't say that. It's usually a damn doctor that comes in and evaluates. He's just like, I'm not competent to stand trial, which he's really not.
No, but he's
clearly mentally, he is, because
he's
he knows what's going
competent
on.
because
It's planned.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the judge grants him a psych eval, another one, to see if he's fit to stand trial. And, so he's previously diagnosed, like he's
bipolar.
Yes, when he was a little kid. And he also got diagnosed before he was released, whenever he was in solitary. And then they did a thing.
They said bipolar disorder again, or they said something else?
I'm about to tell you.
Oh, okay.
So he was previously diagnosed that time with schizophrenia, bipolar, and obsessive compulsive disorder. Okay. Now, because he's been evaluated so many times, and there's so many different.
They're all canceling each other out.
They're so confused. So when they're doing this current evaluation, they say that he has antisocial personality disorder, and that he's faking or feigning, as Dr. Curry would say from the trial, Johnny Depp trial. I love you, Dr. Curry, if you're watching. That he's faking these psychotic symptoms. He's making up the voices in his head and in order to justify his actions. So Nikko continually talked about mental illness, but he refused to take any medication.
Why?
Maybe because he's
did
making
they say anything about
up.
drugs or alcohol? Like, does he? No.
They didn't. No.
Wow.
So during
this
is all him. So like during the eval, he would like talk to himself, and he was like, I'm a brilliant mastermind. He would constantly bragging about himself and just like elevating himself to he's just above. So after several interviews with several different doctors, they believe that he's a sociopath and that he would not benefit from treatment. And they finally concluded that Nikko was manipulative, deceitful, and dangerous. You think? I'm so shocked at those conclusions.
That's probably the right diagnosis.
My thoughts are that he has all of these disorders.
All of the above.
Now,
all of the above.
I don't know why they're saying, I mean, I don't know why they say he's making this stuff up, but I do have a theory. And I'm going to tell you that theory in a second. Okay? So hold on to your, that was morbid. No, I'm going to say it. Hold on to your shoes for that theory. Hold on to your face. The judge finally deems Nikko competent to stand trial.
Okay.
Okay. So they've done all these evaluations. Everything's happening. He's competent now. And because now, if you don't know, I mean, because he does sound crazy, but if you are, it's a matter of being, if he is insane or not. So he just needs to understand what is going on. So when the judge talked to Nikko during these competency hearings, Nikko would argue that some of his constitutional rights have been violated since he was arrested. And the fact that he understood what his constitutional rights were meant that he understood exactly what was going on, meant that he was competent to stand trial.
And the fact that he knows that the system failed him,
yes, so
means that he was competent to stand trial.
Yeah, which that is always like.
It's also everybody else's fault.
Yeah,
for him.
Yes, yes. So then Nikko does what any great psychopath does.
Uh-oh. Tell me.
He fires his attorneys and decides to represent himself.
Oh, man.
He Ted Bundy'd him.
Didn't think he was before, he is officially a sociopath.
So throughout the whole trial, he denies any responsibility, just like you were just talking about, for the murders. And
is there clips of this?
Of the trial? Or
him represent? Does he interviewing people? No, there's nobody interviewing on the stand.
Because he doesn't speak. He doesn't say anything during the trial because that's not the point of it. The point is he just wanted to sit there and make them have to do go through everything. And he was like, no questions, no questions, no questions. Like just to piss him off. So he's like kind of playing him, you know?
And he wanted to hear everything over and over. Is that a way to relive it, you think?
I guess, but it didn't even seem like that was what he wanted. He just was like pissed at the system. And so he just
spend that money and go to trial.
Yes.
Wow.
So maybe he's actually kind of smart.
I know.
Nikko a Trico. Okay.
Usually spree killers aren't very interesting, but he's interesting.
He's probably like pretty charismatic. I feel like he is. So
were you a Nikko cult member?
We might be cult. I might
part
actually.
Of Nikko's cults?
Yeah. Listen. Wait till I tell you how it ends. So he is denying responsibility this whole time because guess what? Guess whose fault it is?
Damn you, Apophis.
It's Apophis' fault. It's the snake god's fault. The snake god was ordering him to do all these things. The snake god made him do these killings as sacrifices. Then he started speaking tongues again. So April 16th, 2014, Nikko is found I'm just kidding. He's found guilty. He's found guilty of all 4 murders. But before he's sentenced, his mental health status comes up again.
Uh-oh.
Whether he is competent enough to face the death penalty.
Yes.
So the sentencing continues. It gets pushed back. There's delays. And things start making headlines. And this is where the story really starts to go public and starts to get attention. And people start becoming fascinated with this case. Some bizarre things start happening in prison. Okay. He is making waves in the jail. He starts to self-mutilate. Okay? He starts with small cuts. Then he starts to carve things into his face. And what he does first...
666.
He carves 666 into his forehead. I don't know how big it is. I when I looked at the pictures, it's not like giant 6s, so it must be like little tiny ones. But guess what? He did it in the mirror. So when you're looking at it, it's backwards and upside down 9s. So
it's a different type of
Apophis didn't advise you how to carve your 6s because you got them backwards and upside down.
Listen, I wouldn't know what to do either.
So I think he must have maybe he rubbed it in. Because then he decides he's going to carve Satan into his face. So he's a good guy.
This reminds me of one of my students.
So he then carves Satan in his face. And let me tell you, he also started, if you're watching the video, he starts cutting his lips like right here from your like slits.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like a skeleton face.
Can you, like if you have wrinkles on around your lips, okay.
You get that from drinking from a straw. You get those.
You get it from smoking.
And smoking. But what do your lips do when you...
I don't drink from a straw like that.
Oh, so you're just going to get them right there on the side.
I'm going to stop drinking out of straw. But listen, have you ever had a paper cut? Have you ever bit your lip?
Yeah.
Have you ever had a cut on your lip? Think about how bad a tiny little teeny tiny cut feels. Think about... Because the pain receptors in your lips, I just think about that has got to be so painful. I know, like your face, whatever, but your lips are tender as well as the palms of your hands, because I had to be poked in my hands before. That's just, I don't know.
They probably like the pain.
I guess, but that hurts so bad. It just stings. Anyway, I digress. Because you know what? This is the least of his pain. Because let me tell you what he does next.
Uh-oh.
You know, he really loves this Apophis snake, devil snake. So what he gonna do? He's gonna cut his tongue in half so he can have a tongue that resembles a snake.
Oh my God, I got a student that has done all three of these things.
Oh, there's one more after this. Let me tell you though. He had to get 9 stitches in his tongue. For that one. His final mutilation. Do you have any guesses?
Something to his penis.
You bitch. His final mutilation, he takes a razor and tries to carve his penis to look like
a snake.
A snake. But I thought it already looked like a snake. Nikko?
Maybe he wasn't circumcised.
Nikko, is this thing on? Nikko, your penis already looks like a snake. I'm sorry.
Maybe he wasn't circumcised. So he was carving
he was getting the foreskin off?
Yes.
Oh, well.
He was like, mine looks like a mushroom. I need it to look like a snake. Let's just get all the skin off.
Do you think the cult of Nikko was advising him on this? You think they're coming in for their conjugals and they're like, I think you should try next.
Yeah.
Get that skin out.
Get it off.
Make it look like a real snake.
If he'd have been circumcised, he probably wouldn't have done any of this.
Make it look like a real... I think we
Blame
do...
the doctor.
You know what? We need to write him after this and ask him if he's circumcised.
Oh my God, he's still alive.
There are several stories. So this is getting all the public attention. Okay, obviously, this dude is making a snake tongue. He's cutting his lips. He's carving stuff in his face, and he's slicing his penis to make it look like a snake, even though it already looks like a snake, but it might not be circumcised, so we don't really know. There's several stories going around, and of course, mainstream media, you know how they do. They just like say all this stuff, and they get it wrong, and they're like, oh, he's insane. He's trying to do this to avoid the death penalty, and which could be true, but there's no denying that he's still struggling with mental health. May 2017, after a 3-year delay. So this thing made
14 through 17.
3-year delay because of all this stuff that he's doing, because he's carving himself up.
This smart.
But like, does he not? I don't know. Do you want to not? I don't know. Die. So the delays are this long, and finally he's sentenced. And as you heard at the very beginning of the episode, I know I did too, but I'm doing the story. So he is sentenced to 450 years in prison and 4 death penalties, which is a little excessive.
No. Each one of those families probably needed to hear their kid's name and death penalty.
I know. I guess. How do you come up with that number, though? It's like, I mean,
yeah, I know. I don't know.
Maybe in his other life. But let me tell you, let me go back to my theory from earlier. I said I had a theory. Okay. Did they dismiss his previous diagnosis because they just disregarded all these diagnoses once they diagnosed him? And did they do that because they wanted him to get the death penalty and he wouldn't have got it if he was deemed mentally incompetent? I mean, speculating.
But I think you can have those diagnoses and still be declared mentally competent. Like, I think
All
it's
of them?
two separate things. Like, you can be bipolar, but still be competent to stand
But what
trial.
if you're schizophrenic?
Schizophrenia is
I think that's
the
a little-
weird one,
yeah.
like that. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't either.
But
I don't know. Were they like, we're just ignoring your previous award?
I think in Texas, anybody, I don't care what you have, you can get death for schizophrenia. But I don't know. I think that they didn't want to pay for, like when he had the earlier not OCD, bipolar disorder. It's like, okay, did he get counseling? Did he get any prescriptions? Did he get any of that? Because when he was in juvenile still?
Well, they apparently he was
trial?
like 7 or 8 years old when the first therapist diagnosed him with it.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
And
And then
then
after that,
and then he joined the gang when he was 11. I mean, but his parents probably just don't care. He probably gets out and they're advising the parent, like, and he can't drive to anywhere to do anything, to go to appointment. I don't know.
yeah. When you're still a part of the system, like either in jail or on parole, they have to provide you that help and that support. So let's just say he had a broken leg, broken arm, and broken back. He would have been able to go home because you don't want to pay. The state would have to pay for you to go to those doctor appointments, get whatever medicine, get whatever. So maybe it just goes back to money, which goes back to him saying the damn fifth system failed him, which they did.
Or it could all be Apophis.
It was his last name.
Let me tell you about the players in the story and what happened to them real quick. So, mom, Lori Jenkins, 10 years for buying the ammunition, for knowing he was planning to use it and to kill someone, plus 5 more years. And she is to be released in 2028. Sister, Erica Jenkins, life in prison for murder of Curtis Bradford and for taking part in some of the robberies. And in 2021, she changed her name to Illuminati Goddess Inika Prestige.
And Nika, the girl version of Nika.
She's obsessed with him. Cousin Christine,
Fucking A.
sentenced to 20 years for her part in the robbery, even though she was involved in the murders, she didn't actually murder anyone, but she got a lesser sentence.
Why?
I was about to ask. Because bitch turned into a snitch. She snitched on him. She started running her mouth. She gave the police evidence. She told them everything. And this was crucial to the conviction.
Yeah.
For them and the rest of the family. And at one point, they actually put Sister Erica and cousin Christine in the same jail cell. They put them in the same
Sister
cell.
Erica, cousin Christine.
So sister was pissed because Christine was snitching, beats her with the padlock, almost beats her to death.
They were, what's it called when you try to start something? Not gaslighting, but it's instigating.
Oh,
they were
yeah.
Instigating.
They
were
were
like, let's see what happens when we put them in the same cell.
They're like, this family is so screwed up. Let's just figure it out for them.
Let's save the state money and just let them kill each other.
So then we got Uncle Warren, who's the guy that got him the shotgun at the release party. He was sentenced to 40 years in prison for his part in the murder of Andrea Kruger. So there were actually several other family members that took part in all these crimes, but
those are
these were the main players, because we ain't trying to go through every single one of those 38.
No, that's a 10-episode podcast.
Yeah, we'll do that next year. Last thing, in 2018, Nikko attempted suicide by slashing his throat. He survived. They began forcibly medicating him, which helped but didn't last long. 2019, he pulled a tile from the prison walls. Don't ask. Sharpened it, stabbed himself in the eyes and neck multiple times. Then finally, we're almost there. Hang in there. April 2020. So like yesterday, Supreme Court refused to hear his appeal. And there was a 420-page document that was about the appeal. Like that. I don't know.
Did he do that?
I don't know why it was such a giant document, but the Supreme Court was like, we ain't trying to hear that. We're not trying to hear that.
Listen, shred the document. We're not reading it.
To this day, he is still alive. The attorneys and the doctors are still arguing about his mental health and if he's mentally ill or not. And so he's still
just in prison
there, and he is seen as one of Nebraska's most terrifying killers.
Yes. Wow. He is, and one of the only ones, because I only found out about him because I had a friend going to Nebraska, and I was like, "Ooh, can I send them on a?"
He's not like heavily talked about.
No, like he came up, and that picture scares you, but no, I only found out because somebody was going to the A&M and Nebraska game or something like that last year.
Boy,
he's scary.
Oh, he is the scary.
You know what?
Snake.
I think they need an exorcism. I think that's why they can't figure out what's wrong with them. They need an exorcism. Let me see.
Look at all that. I mean, he just writes all this stuff on his face. Listen, I'm going to tell you once, I'm going to tell you again. You got face tattoos?
That's a little sketchy.
You got a situation you need to figure out. I'm not trying to tell you how to live your life. You live your best life. You get tattoos. You get piercings. You do the things. You do you, boo. But if it's on your face, I'm going to need you to go talk to Casey or find a therapist or go pray about it.
Casey, here's your question. I mean, here's what I need you to tell us. Can untreated bipolar disorder escalate to this? We obviously know schizophrenia can. Is he a sociopath?
I think he's everything.
Can you be all of them?
I just
Would
think
medicine help him? No. Oh, it didn't.
But he wouldn't
He's a crack
take it.
baby. He's a crack baby. Oh, he wouldn't take it. I thought you said it didn't work for long.
He had to be forcibly took it whenever he started slitting his throat after he was already sentenced and his tactics didn't work.
He's a drug baby. That's why none of the medicine works.
I just saw. He never talked about drugs.
That was such a good story.
I hope y'all loved it.
Look at that.
I hope y'all loved it. I really enjoyed researching it because there was a little bit of comedy there because, you know, you got to just add it in there.
So many twists and turns.
I mean, and I really hope that he circumcised himself because if he didn't,
then the cult of Nikko may be gone.
The cult of Nikko, they were all about that circumcision.
I wonder if they still like him. Probably even more.
You know what? I'm sure we can write him.
All right, y'all. We will see y'all in a week. Don't forget to
stay aware,
stay alive,
and always be DTF.
Go rate, review, and subscribe right now.
Do it.
What does DTF mean?
Down to find the murderer,
Bye,
the killer. Peace out. Bitch, don't be swinging that thing in my face.
This has been a Rogue Media podcast.